Hey everybody, what's happening? I want to thank you guys for being here. This is the Cue Tang Clan. My name is Rob. Many of you know me as the Gangster of Pool. Once again, thank you guys for being here. I want to thank everybody who viewed and commented and just messages upon messages and of you know good good vibes about the last show and everything like that. That was my first attempt at doing something like that by myself. I had on Ariana Alonso, who is a friend and a fellow pool player. I want to thank her for joining me on my first show. We were both a bit nervous. She was a little bit more nervous than I was, but she came across like a pro. She's so easy to talk to, and she loves pool, and I think that comes across with anybody who knows her and talks to her for a second. She loves pool, and I was glad to have her. And the show went almost an hour, and we had a good time. It was pretty fun. Hopefully, one day we'll have her back on, and we'll do some more fun stuff like that with her. Anyway, I just wanted to briefly talk about. I got my note page. Briefly talk about the direction of the show. In the show format that we were doing host, co-host, have on a guest, recap, what's going on in the world of pool. I think there's quite a few people doing that now, and not saying that I have something against it, and maybe one day form another partnership, or me and Jay will get back at it, and we'll do something like that. So I want to leave that door open for that. But as far as myself, I just feel like I want to work with my strong points, and that's talking about cues. I was always the product guy, and I have a good head for finding deals on product, finding the right product, and engineering and de-engineering and finding the best way to work and use my tools that I know as a pool player. And that was just the products, the things that make the sport go round instead of the players and personalities and recapping events. I feel like with between Dogging It and the show Dogging It with Melina Mike, and just the various other shows that are popping up, like Fader has his own podcast thing going on, the various pages, the recap, the events anyway. I feel like maybe I'll just tackle something different this way. We're not just all fighting over the same cookie and trying to cover that world of pool. Like, I feel like I'm, very much into product and cues and all that stuff. So I think that's where I want to kind of point my efforts to, from now on. But let me know what you think. Let me know if that's a good idea in the comments or message me. Please. You guys have always given me good feedback, and that's what I love. So if you think that's a smart move, by all means, let me know. Give me some ideas. That said, I just wanted to, I'm not going to go an hour, but I definitely wanted to talk about a few things, based on this new direction and topic that I wanted to go. The first thing I wanted to talk about was there's so many people I see that use a tip right out of the box. They'll buy a cue, they'll get a carbon fiber cue, or buy a carbon fiber shaft, or buy a cue in general, and just start using it. And I think that's so crazy. Like, I'll talk to people about shapers, or matter of fact, I'll put something in my stories about a shaper or a tool I got, to work on tips, and people are like, "Oh, you shape your own tip, or you don't just have somebody do it," and the amount of people that I hear or talk to that don't shape their tips and just use them out of the box is crazy. I always thought of tips as like a pair of jeans. Maybe I'm old. Maybe people don't wear jeans anymore, but I always thought of like tips as some new Levi's. Like, when you first get them, they feel like shit. they're all rough, they're tight, and after you wear them and you use them and you get into them, they start to develop and they feel like they're a part of you after a while. And that's how I felt about tips. Tips, obviously they compress and they move, especially the amount of people that play with soft tips these days. They move, they adjust, they're constantly taking new lives. And you're always shaping them and sanding them and shaving off the mushroom pieces, at least in my experience anyway. But the amount of people that I've talked to and seen that don't shape their tips and don't do tip maintenance is crazy. I heard FSR talk. He was. I think he was doing the Carl Boys "What's in My Bag" thing, and he was talking about his tips. And every time he goes up to a table, he's messing with this tip, and these guys fly through tips left and right. And I think that's the way to go about it, because it's always changing, and every time you smash a ball or it's always changing the compression of the tip. And especially with the soft tips, and they can lose their shape. You shape them and you play a few racks, and they can be out of whack until the leather like fully compresses. I think that you're constantly going to be evolving with your tip. I used to be really into guitar, a lot less now. My hands all beat up and everything, but the same thing with the guitar. You bought a guitar, and at least in my experience, and other family that played the instrument also, you bought a guitar and you immediately brought it to a luthier and had somebody set it up for you. They work the intonation and move around the bridge and get everything lined up perfectly. And that's the way I always saw it with tips. They you get them, you buy them, and they pull them out of the box, and they look fresh, and they look clean, and it's like you want to go right to hitting balls, but it's really you got to shape it to. Do you like the dime tip, nickel tip? It's all about shaping it to your specificities and how what helps your game better. So I think enough said about that. I think you guys who I've spoke to about shaping your tip and making sure that's you're getting that up to par, instead of just using it right out of the box. I think that'll ultimately help you in the long run. And just few tools that I mentioned, that it's not like you have to have any type of degree to do this stuff. I mean, it's very simple. But it's something that I feel like every pool player needs to have. Probably the main thing I would suggest is the Q-Tech bow tie tip tool, and that they have two sides of it. You can scuff the tip, and then they have this thing where you can shape the tip. You can also open it up, and they have a tapper inside, or who knows, people got different names for everything, but this is to I don't think you want to so much stab the tip and make holes, but I think you gently roll it up the tip, and that is so it kind of aerate, like you would aerate your lawn. It's something similar to where your grass would take water, your tip would take chalk better if you roll the tapper across from it. And I think this is maybe $20-$25, and to me it's a must have. Like I was talking about with FSR, how he's shaping his tip before every match, and this is what you're using. They obviously they have different tools that do the same thing, but this would be the one that I recommend, kind of like the Swiss Army knife of tip tools. But I mean, me, I'm a little wackadoo, so it doesn't stop there. I also have this, which I just got, and I love. It's very easy to take a chunk out of your tip or use wrong and wind up with bloody fingers. But basically, it's like a pencil sharpener. You put your tip in here, it's got the razor, and if you have a mushroom tip, if your tip starts to flatten out and create kind of like a hangover on the side, you would insert your tip here, line it up with the razor, and you would shave off the mushroom part to get your tip, back to where it needs to be, back to looking perfect and not like a flat used bullet. So yeah, the Q-tip razor, like I said, it's very easy to screw up a good cue with this because it is a razor and it is like a pencil sharpener, so to speak. So using your instructions, watch a YouTube video, watch somebody else do it. But definitely, I would suggest one of these in your arsenal. And this is something I use because just my family's into woodworking and I've always had these around. These are sandpaper sponges. It's literally a sponge, but with different grits of sandpaper on it. And I don't know if you can see the markings from break tips and playing tips, and I don't know. Sometimes I'll put a cue tip, I'll put a tip in the shaper, and it won't hit it right, but it does the job, but it won't hit it right. I just will go over it with this, or most of the time I'll use this on my break tip because it's a weird phenolic material, and I'll just use this to kind of give it a rounder edge. That's just some of the things I have. It's don't be the person that is a working pool player and you go into a pool hall and you don't have shit on you. I have like a little fishing tackle box filled with chalks and all my tip tools and extra tips and glues, and just have everything covered for you. This way, if something happens, worst case scenario, you can do a quick repair or something like that. This way you don't lose your money. But that's about it with the tips. The last thing I wanted to talk about was just I've always talked about switching from Predator to Viking, the Viking family of products, which is 60, and we heard the news of Fedor leaving Q-Tech and going over to 60, which is white carbon and Viking. So therefore, the shaft that Fedor's using has been the white carbon shaft, and to me, I talked about this in the show I did with Ariana. I kind of had like a best of 23, and one of the categories was products, and this was right off the top. This is my number one product, for the year, and carrying on into 24. Basically, the white carbon shaft it's identical to the Viking Seed shaft. They're made at the same place, but this pin is a universal adapter. You don't have to, if you have several cues that have different joints, you don't have to go out and buy a new shaft every time you want to use a carbon fiber. They sell an adapter to where you can put it to anything. You can put it to unilock, you can put it to radial, 5/16, whatever you have. There's an adapter made for it. But that's in the white carbon shaft, and these things, ever since Fedor signed, and it kind of put an eye on them, these shafts have absolutely been flying off the shelves. They are tougher to get than anything. When Revo came out and Predator was selling Revo shafts like crazy, I don't think they were still as ever hot as white carbon has become lately. So white carbon they have 3 carbon fiber shafts. I think they might have 4. I seen a silver hued one, but basically they have what they call raw, the black carbon fiber. They call it raw. They have one that's white, like paper white, and they call it pearlescence. And then the one lately that everybody's been going crazy of, it is a wood grain looking shaft, but it is carbon fiber, and that thing is selling like hotcakes. I want to show you guys real quick. One of my favorite places to shop, obviously Albert's at Fort Worth Billiards, but one place that gets a lot of my money is Seibert's, and Seibert's is sold out. Look at this. Everything's sold out completely on these wood grain shafts. They have the white ones, they have the black ones, but these wood grain shafts they took pre-orders and they're going like crazy. Basically with these shafts, one thing I wanted to talk about with the company 60, Um, and I, seen it as they've been progressing in sales, and more. They're selling more and more. So the price has kind of moved. They started off, when I first got mine, they started off at $513. And I believe that was, it was like $450 for the shaft. And then the little adapter piece, was like 65. Yeah, like $65. Yeah. So it was like 413, 415, or I'm sorry, 515. Then it went up to about 550 as they started selling more. And right now, as you can see here, every single white carbon shaft is $600. $600. That's with the adapter though. So you order the shaft, obviously it comes with the adapter. But $600 for a carbon fiber shaft. Let me tell you something. It is a great shaft. I enjoy using it, and I would love to buy some more. But $600 is a little bit crazy. But can you really blame them? I mean, they're capitalizing on this craze. You got one of the best players in the world, and potentially another one of the best players in the world with Jason Shaw. Is he joining them eventually? I don't know. We've seen him in the Mosconi Cup use a Viking Cue, my same Viking Cue, the Paul Drexler Cue with the white carbon shaft. And the word on the street was he's joining Viking also. But with the rumor of him, and especially Fedor, and then just them being good shafts in general, they're climbing like crazy. The price is going up, stock is going out the door. And it's got to make it tough for these retail outlets like Fort Worth Billiards and Syberts. You keep stock, and you're selling them, and the mother company is raising the price, and then you got to adjust too, because if they're raising the price, obviously their price is going up also. So don't take it out on these stores. They're just if they're buying them to keep them on the shelf for you, obviously they got to pay the fig, and if they're getting raised one end, these guys are feeling it too. So I kind of, I get the fact that it's a hot product, and you want to capitalize on your market and raise the price. But then again, make a name for yourself, make a name as the place that's going to tell you one thing, and we're going to leave it like that. And I just kind of think you would attract more bees with honey. If it was 525, 550, I think you would sell even more, because it's an affordable price. If somebody's on the fence and they're looking to choose, and they go, oh, here's white carbon, I heard they're awesome, $600. I can spend $500 and grab myself a Revo, and something with the same reputation. So I mean, that's a point all there. But we'll save that for the marketing guys. I'm just a rockhead pool player. But anyway, that's what I don't want to talk about. I just wanted to talk about the tips. I want to talk about the shafts. I wanted to talk about the possible new direction. So give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys think. If that would be a cool move to do. Talk about for me to talk about more product and equipment based shows and everything like that. I think that would kind of separate me from the pack, and who knows? I'm pretty sure like these outlets that sell, I'm sure they got new stuff, and they would like to talk about that, and maybe that's another feature too. We can have some guys talk about new products and new shit coming out, because I'm always looking for the next greatest thing. I hate being stagnant with anything, clothes, equipment. I'm always like looking out into the future. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully that's a cool move to make, and we can do some fun stuff along the way. That's about it for now. I want to thank you guys in advance for taking a look at this and joining me, and I'll talk to you next time.